Previously on Charlie's Chapters. I still can't believe how many books I got rid of.
Look how few books I have right now. I'm like not gonna have any books left.
You are gonna have so fucking many books left.
I swear to God, when I tell you, I thought I was gonna get rid of like 10 books.
So if I don't like something, I should get rid of it, even if I have other books by that author? Is that the lesson we're learning?
Yes.
Look forward to an unhaul in the very near future. And I can't believe I got rid of like 160 books. Like, who even am I? So I just spilled half of this down the front of me, so we're off to a great start. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlie, and today I'm going to tell you about all 150 plus books that I just unhauled. This is by far the biggest unhaul I have ever done. I get rid of books all the time, I'm not gonna lie, like all the time, but it's usually 10 or 20 here and there. This time, I went crazy. I was so sick of looking at my shelves being so overcrowded, so overstuffed, so disorganized. It was driving me nuts. It was driving me nuts, and I felt like every time I bought a new book, I didn't even know where to put it, how to shelve it. I ended up getting rid of over 160 books. Now, since then, I am proud to say I have already gotten rid of several of them. They are now out of my house completely. So right now, we're just going to talk about the 150 that I still have left in my home. Out of those 150, we have 95 that I've already read and 55 that I haven't read. I am much more willing to get rid of something once I've already read it because the potential of an unread book is just too great for me to be willing to get rid of it. This is really hard for me, and I have been putting off filming this video for over a month now because, well, number one, I just didn't feel like moving all these books around. But number two, I'm so afraid that when I go through them again, I'm gonna change my mind and want to keep them. These are my children and I don't like seeing them go. Of course, we need to do a disclaimer before we get started. Several, if not all of these books that I'm getting rid of, I didn't hate them. I'm not getting rid of them because I think they're bad books. I just don't have a purpose for them in my life anymore, and I want to see them go to a better home where someone else can enjoy them. So if any of these books are your favorite books, please, please don't take offense. This is not me shitting on them. This is me saying, I'm done with you. You have served me well, and now it's time to go out into the world and have a whole new life with a whole new family. That's how I look at it. If I don't look at it like that, then I get really, really sad. So that's how I look at it, okay? Most of the time when I get rid of books, I bring them to free libraries just because living in New York City, I don't have a car, so it's very difficult for me to bring mass quantities of books to donate. So I bring a handful when I go to a free library to give away that way. I have looked into Pango Books. I may list some of these, but I may not. I don't know. Right now, I don't have the time to do that, to take all the pictures and post them and mail them and all of those things. So right now I haven't done that, but if I do in the future decide to do that, I will link the Pango Books link down below. But for now, I'm just gonna give them away. Enough chatting. Let's get started. I guess we'll start with the ones that I've read just because I feel like the reasoning will be a little bit easier to explain. First of all, we have Anxious People and Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I read both of these and I enjoyed both of these. I think Frederick Bachman is a wonderful author. I just don't foresee myself reading them again. And they also, to me, are a weird class or a weird genre. They're more literary fiction, which I have very little of on my shelves. So I kind of never know where to put them, and that drives me nuts. So they've served their purpose. I enjoyed them, and now they're gonna go elsewhere. Then I have One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Obviously, I picked this up after being so obsessed and so hyped about Red, White, and Royal Blue. Unfortunately, this didn't give me the same feelings that that book did. It just didn't hit the same way. It was good, but it just wasn't something that I was like obsessed with and I would read again. Then we have Dry by Neil Shusterman. I picked this up because I read his Scythe series and loved it. And I read this a long, long time ago. And it was good, but I haven't thought about it since, and I don't think I would ever reread it. I need to stop explaining myself like this. This is gonna be the most boring video ever. Next, we have Otherworld and Other Earth. Now, Otherworld I have read. Other Earth I have not, but it is its sequel. This was in the very, very beginning of me reading again as an adult. This was one of the popular books when I started getting into reading again that came out that year, and I did really enjoy it. it. So I picked up the sequel, but I just never got around to it, and they've been sitting on my shelves forever. I just can't see myself ever going back to this world. I think I'm past it. Very similarly, I have Rule and Rise. I read Rule a long time ago. I enjoyed it. I picked up the second book and I never got around to it. And I don't think at this point that I ever will. I've kept them on my shelf because I'm always like, oh, but one day, like that was a fun world. I'll go back there one day. But like it wasn't anything special or spectacular. And there's just too many other books out there that I want to read more than this. You gotta go. We have Walk on Earth a Stranger as well as Like a River Glorious. These are books that take place in like the gold rush time, which always was intriguing, but they are very old. Again, it's like I got them on a giant book outlet sale, and yeah, 2015. I just won't ever pick these up. I just won't. So remember when I said these are all books I've already read? I guess I'm a big fat liar. I thought I had them organized and now I'm realizing I do not. The Miss Peregrine's Home books. I feel so guilty getting rid of these because I bought a box set and I was so excited to read them, and I still kind of am. I don't think that I am the intended audience for these anymore, unfortunately. I really want to read them, but I also, see, this is why I didn't want to do this, because now I'm thinking I should keep these. God damn it. God damn it. I'm getting rid of them, I think. Goodbye is a Second Chance. This was in a book subscription box that I received. It's an indie romance, and it was good. It was fine. It was totally enjoyable, but it's not something that I'm ever going to talk about again, read again, lend to somebody, so it's time to go. Then I have The Dating Plan and The Marriage Game by Sarah Desai. I have read both of these. I enjoyed both of these, but I don't foresee rereading them. They also do not match in size, and that's just infuriating, so they have to go. Then I have The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory. I also read this. I also enjoyed this somewhat, but it's not memorable, and I don't think I'll ever reread it, so it's gotta go. A couple of young adult authors. We have Neverworld Wake and People Like Us. I really did enjoy both of these very much for what they were, but it's been years and I don't think I'll ever reread them again. And as much as I would like to keep them on my shelves just for nostalgic purposes, I just don't have the room. I don't have the space. Very, very similarly, these three books. These are by Jen Bennett. I love these covers. I loved these stories. They were so cute. I mean, they're so cute. They're so cute. They're young adult romances, and they were perfect for what they were. And I've held on to them for a very long time. It's been very hard for me to let them go, but it's time. They've got to go. Even though they look pretty, they have to go. They have to go. They have to go. I don't know who I'm trying to convince, you or me. I have two young adult romances by Bridget Kemmerer, who also has been writing fantasy, which I've really loved and I'm not getting rid of. But I read this a very long time ago and it was so good. So then I got this one, which I then never read. I don't have a place for them anymore in my life. I just don't. Small Town Hearts, another cute little YA romance. Look at this cute cover. It was such a cute little moment at the time, and now I have moved on. Also, Prince Charming by Rachel Hawkins, and what is this one called? Her Royal Highness. These covers, again, freaking adorable. I really enjoyed this series. I don't even feel like I have good enough reasons other than just I have no room. I have no room. That's like the reason for half of this. I have no more room. Maybe I should just get a new bookshelf. No, stop it. What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I am a huge fan of Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda. Like, huge fan. I loved that book. I also really liked Leah on the Offbeat. Oh, and also I loved They Both Die at the End very much. This just didn't hit the same way for me. Couldn't bring myself to get rid of the other books by them, but this one I was like, you know what? It's okay. I can get rid of one for now. How to Hack a Heartbreak. This was a purchase a long time ago. I remember I was sort of getting back into romance and adult romance and sort of discovering that. I think I had just read like Christina Lauren, Tessa Bailey, Emily Henry for the first time, and I was like, what else is out there? So I literally just typed in romance books on Amazon. This one came up, I bought it, and now it's gonna go. Now it's gonna go. Boy Meets Girl by Meg Cabot. This book I have had since I was a teenager. I have not wanted to let it go because I have so few books from when I was a kid, from when I was a teenager, that I can look back on and remember. This is one of very few of them, and I always thought maybe one day I'll reread it. Will I? Will I reread it? This one's a hard one. I kind of want to hold on to it, but for now, I'm saying it's gonna go. The Spanish Love Deception. I know that a lot of people loved this. It was not for me. Since then, I have bought other books by her that I plan to read because I want to give her another chance. Maybe it's just this one, but this one was not for me. The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. This was good. This was cute. I read this during a readathon at some point. Never thought about it again. So it's time to go. Same thing with The Trouble with Hating You. It was good. It was cute. It was a fun time. It's an adorable cover. It's time to go. The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. This was such a huge hyped deal when it came out, and I picked it up. I read it. I enjoyed it, but I don't think I enjoyed it as much as a lot of other people, and now I need to say goodbye to it. So goodbye. The Summer Job by Lizzie Dent. This was really cute. This was about a girl who basically pretends to be her best friend who's like a wine sommelier so that she can go and work this job that her friend decided not to agree to work, and she knows nothing about wine. It was very funny. It was very cute, but it didn't like wow me. So I think I gave it like a 3-star, and now it's time to go. I know I read this. I remember absolutely nothing about it, so I guess it has to go. Royal Runaway. I purchased this in an airport on a whim. It was when I was going to Ireland. I took myself to Ireland for my 30th birthday by myself, and so my whole trip was basically sightseeing and reading, and I bought this on the way. I wanted something that felt like the UK, like Ireland, Scotland, England. I read it. It was fun. See, now I'm like, I read this in Ireland. I kind of want to keep it because I have such fond memories of that trip, but it wasn't anything special. It was just okay, and I guess it's gotta go. Then we have Waiting for Tom Hanks. This was very cute. I just recently purchased a book by this author that's a Christmas rom-com that I'm hoping to get to this year. This was cute, but it wasn't anything special, and there's no reason to hold on to it. This was also very cute. I was wanting something similar to the Unhoneymooners. Maybe it was just the cover, but it was giving me that vibe. Of course, it did not quite live up to the Unhoneymooners vibe. But what could? Honestly, what could? Faker, I loved this book. I thought this was so fun. I don't remember it at all now, but I remember that I thought it was so fun, and now it's time to say goodbye. Meet Cute by Helena Hunting. This one, I don't really remember. Does anyone ever think that they just read too many books and because of that they can't remember any of them and they're not actually enjoying any of them? Is that like a thing? Because I feel like that's a thing sometimes. I'm like, if I only read 20 books a year, I would remember every single one, like in detail. But when you read like 10 to 20 a month, it's very easy to get them all mixed up in your head. And this is one that I just don't remember. So goodbye. The Right Swipe. This was very, very cute. This was like an NFL player, I want to say. And I feel like it had to do with a dating app. Oh, what gave that away? The Right Swipe. I'm an idiot. It did have to do with a dating app. It was good. It was fun. It was cute. I'll never think about it again. Don't You Forget About Me. I don't remember this one either. I don't remember. Goodbye. Finally, one I read recently that I do remember. I just read this year. It was enjoyable. It is by one of my favorite authors for thrillers. But as a romance author, I don't think she hits the same way. And it's funny because what I like about her thrillers is the romance in them. But I don't know. It was just okay. It was just okay. I think I can let it go. The Merciless. This is one of the very first books that I purchased when I first started reading again. So this is like 2015-ish, 2016, something like that. I want to say it's young adult. Yeah, Daniel Vega. I don't know. It was fun. It's a whole series and I never kept going. So that should tell you what you need to know, but I don't want to get rid of it just because it's such a fun cover, but at the same time, like, it's gotta go. I've really backed myself into a corner here, haven't I? This is a hard one for me. These are all Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen, and for a long time, in my head, this was an auto-buy authors. And I really had to think about it when I was questioned by Katie when she was helping me get rid of books. She was like, were any of them that good? And I honestly couldn't remember which one I liked best. And so because of that, I was like, you know what? Maybe not. It's hard for me to get rid of them because I feel like that was like every year I would buy this author's books, but I don't know. I'm not even making any sense because I'm trying to justify it in my own head before I explain it to you, and either way, it's not adding up. I'm sad to get rid of these, but it's okay. It's gonna be okay. I will not think about them again, I think. Now we have a bunch of Book of the Month books that I have read. We have People Like Her. Wasn't a fan. Wasn't a huge fan, I should say. Arsenic and Adobo. This is a cozy mystery, and it was fine, but I don't think cozy's for me, so goodbye. A Nearly Normal Family. I think they just made this into a show or a movie on Netflix, so I want to check that out. I don't really remember a lot about this. I think it was good, but I don't think it was like mind-blowing in any way. The Family Game. This one, I love this cover so much that it's hard for me to say goodbye to it, but I read it, I enjoyed it for what it is, and now it's time to go. The Perfect Mother. I remember absolutely nothing about this book. Absolutely nothing. So it's gotta go. How to Marry Keanu Reeves in 90 Days. This title totally got me. I totally fell for it. I had to know. I had to know what it was all about, and it was a fun time. It was also just that. It was just a good time for what it was, and now it's gotta go. Emma in the Night. I want to say this is one of the very first Book of the Month books I ever got. So it's nostalgic for me, but at the same time, it was fine. It was fine. Luster. This book was so unique and different. It made me feel really proud of myself that I read it, because it was like more literary fiction. It was a little bit out of my comfort zone, and so the fact that I even read it, I felt like I was so proud and I wanted to keep it on my shelves, but it's time. It's time to go. Two Girls Down. Another older Book of the Month selection that I can't remember a single thing about. One to Watch. This was super fun. I do remember this premise, but not something that I have wanted to pick up again. Like, it's not something I look at and go, oh my god, I need to read that again. I think it's gotta go. I think it's gotta go. The Oracle Year. Got this from Book of the Month, obviously. I actually chose this as a book club pick for my real life book club that I used to have with some friends, and we really enjoyed it, but it's definitely not something I've thought about since. Served its purpose, and now it's leaving. Pretty Little Wife. I don't remember. I don't remember. I think I read it last year, so it's not even like I read it that long ago, but I just don't remember. Same thing with Lies She Told. I don't remember. Like, I look at these and I'm like, honestly, they could be the exact same thing, and I wouldn't. I don't know. And then we have 56 Days. This one is a thriller that was written about COVID and quarantine and takes place in Ireland. So it had all the makings of a really interesting, unique book. It didn't quite live up to that for me, unfortunately. I'm not going to say this title because I mess it up every single time. You can see what it is. Okay, I just read this. I just read this in October. It was cute and quirky and quaint and cozy, but it's not a favorite book, unfortunately, for me. Also, When Life Gives You Vampires, I read in the very same vlog. That was like the witchy, Halloween-y rom-com vlog that I did. This one, whew, I don't think I've like actually outwardly disliked a book more than this one this year, unfortunately. This just didn't work. Didn't work. Reborn Yesterday, this one I have been holding on to just because it's by Tessa Bailey and I have so many, if not most of her books. This was a backlist one that I picked up after reading much of her current work. It has vampires in it, I want to say, or dead people or something. It was fun, but it did not intrigue me enough to continue with this series. I just think it's so different than her other books that I don't feel that guilty about getting rid of it, even though I love all her other work. Sometimes I forget I'm too old to like sit crisscross applesauce for an hour on a wood floor. When did that happen? Andy J. Christopher. I read this one. I did not read this one. I did not like this one, so why did I buy this one? Who's to say? They gotta go. An Honest Lie by Taryn Fisher. I do like Taryn Fisher, and I thought this was really fun. I read this year during the summer, and it was definitely a good time. It also felt very similar to many, many, many other thrillers that I've read. Keep It in the Family by John Mars. This was so weird and fun and weird. I had a good time with it, but it's gotta go. It's gotta go. Girls of Bracken Hall. This was like a random cover by book just because I thought it was haunted housey. It was fun. It was good. It was fine. It was whatever. You know, I feel like these are gonna topple any minute now. Just come crashing down around me. Every Value Break by Peter Swanson. This is one of my most liked books by him, but I still didn't love it. Before She Knew Him by Peter Swanson. Did not like this one. Now this group is hard for me because this. I like the covers. I don't like that this one doesn't match, but I love when there's like fun neon situations going on and they just look fun together. But none of these were standouts in any way for me, unfortunately. I keep picking up Megan Miranda and I keep waiting for that one that's gonna like blow my mind. These aren't it, unfortunately. They're going out the door. Hairpin Bridge. This was a fun lesson that I had to learn, that just because you like an author and like their books doesn't mean you have to keep all of their books, including the ones you didn't like. I am still having a hard time with that because as a collector, I like to have all of them, but it's also not fun to look at a book from an author you like and have negative thoughts about it. So I'm getting rid of it. It hurts, but I'm doing it. Same thing with The Island. I loved the chain, and unfortunately, this one didn't do it for me. And I wanted to keep them both because they look very good together. They're both by the same author. I wanted to have the collection, but I don't need to. I don't need to. I can like the chain without having this next to it. Mary Kubica. This one is her newest book this year, and it just didn't work. It just did not work for me, unfortunately. Local Woman Missing by her was so good. It was one of my favorite thrillers, probably of all time. I keep picking up her books thinking I'm gonna get another 5-star thriller, and this just was so the opposite of that. And The Au Pair. This was a totally random one. I don't think I've ever heard anyone else talk about. I don't know how I got my hands on it. I think I must have just at some point picked it up at a store, and it was good. Definitely not my favorite read. All right, we are just, I feel like, not making much progress. Book of Night by Holly Black. I was so stoked for this. This was Holly Black's first adult fantasy, and I was really excited for it, and I was so bored and let down, unfortunately. It wasn't for me. I have seen people really enjoy it. For me personally, it didn't work, and there's no reason to hold on to it. This one has been very hard for me to get rid of. I wanted to be cool and love this like the cool kids do. And really by that I just mean Kayla from Books and Lala. I want to be cool like her. I want to be smart like her. I want her like the book she likes. Sometimes I don't though, unfortunately. And this was one of those instances, and I can't, as much as I love the cover and I love looking at it on my shelves, there's no reason for me to hold on to it. It kills me though. The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. This cover is just so fun. N.K. Jemisin wrote the... Did I just have a stroke? The 5th season. Jesus. N.K. Jemisin wrote the 5th season, which was really, really good. This was a really cool concept. In theory, I don't think for me that it actually worked, but the idea of it was very cool. It has to do with New York City being sort of like a living entity. So there is a living, breathing person sort of thing, creature, entity that represents each borough. So you have Queens, you have Bronx, you have Brooklyn, and it was so cool, but it just was a little bit confusing and boring and slow and weirdly paced, and I just unfortunately didn't love it. But great concept, so unique. These were so fun. These were young adult books. It was basically if the United States had decided to make George Washington a king instead of a president and have a monarchy. This was their ancestors, the royals of the United States. It was fun. They were cute little romances. I think one of them had to do with like a bodyguard. I don't know. It was really fun. I remember really liking them. I know there's more books in this series and I've been very tempted. I've had like one of them on my wish list forever. Like one day I'll buy this, but will I? Probably not. I don't know. I kind of don't want to get rid of, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. We're getting rid of them. It's fine. I already made the decision. Eliza and Her Monsters. This was another one I read at the very, very beginning from BookTube recommendations. It was in the beginning of me reading in my adulthood and reading a young adult book that had such good like mental health rep and conversations that were so different than the young adult books that existed when I was a young adult. This made me very excited about reading again. I have fond memories of it, but it's gotta go. Same thing with Made You Up. It had such good conversations in a young adult book, and the publishing world had come so far from when I was a young adult that I really did love this and enjoy this, but I I don't think I'll ever read it again, which makes me sad. I hate growing up. We have some Ashley Poston. So we have Geekerella and The Princess and the Fangirl. These were fun, cute, young adult romances, fun covers, fun premises. They had to do with like fandom and like conventions, like Comic-Con kind of conventions. Ashley Poston has now been writing adult romance, which is great. I've been hesitant to get rid of these, but at the same time, I think I'm past this. Then we have BookTube's own Christine Riccio. To me, she was like BookTube royalty. I mean, she still is, obviously. She was from the very early stages of BookTube, and the fact that she then went on to become an author, a published author, is so amazing. And I did actually quite like both of these, and she has a new book that's coming out. It may have already come out, but if not, it's coming out very soon. That looks really fun and interesting, and I kind of want to pick up. So I'm not getting rid of these because I didn't like them. I just don't think I'll reread them, and I want them to go to another home. Then we have Hyde and The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White. I liked this. I didn't mind this, at least as much as everyone else seemed to, but I don't think either of these are books that I would ever reread, and so they've got to go. Do they have to? Yes, they have to. They have to. I feel like I'm in the bargaining stage of grief now. Like, I'm about to bargain with you to keep some of these. The Writing Retreat, I read this probably this year, I guess. Must have been early in the year, but I definitely think it was this year. And I did very much like it, but I definitely didn't love it the way some people did. It kind of made me a little bit angry and frustrated at times. Don't be mad at me. Please don't be mad at me. The Wives. I don't remember anything about this. It was fun. It was good. It was Taryn Fisher, but I haven't thought about it since. Call Me Evie. This was a book that I read with my real life book club. I remember very much liking it. I think it has to do with a kidnapping, and now it's gonna go to a better home, another home. The Remembrance. That's upside down, isn't it? I am obsessed with this cover. This one had to do with fraternity, sorority, fraternity, Greek life. It was kind of boring, but the cover is stunning, so I didn't want to get rid of it. But I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm doing it. Nine Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty. It was fine. I don't think Leanne Moriarty's writing is for me. I think it's a little bit too quiet and slow-paced for my personal taste. The show was fun. It had a good cast. It was weird. A Good Marriage. It was good, but it wasn't great. Not a happy family. I am not happy about getting rid of this, but it's fine. I'm trying to get creative with my explanations because at this point I feel like I've been talking for 16 years. Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing. This one was a giant letdown, unfortunately. I was stoked for this and I love this cover. Just didn't work for me. And it hurts to say it, but it just didn't. It's Always the Husband is another book club book that I read with my book club, and it was fun, and now it's gotta go. Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. This one is the only Karen Slaughter that I own somehow, and it's definitely not my favorite Karen Slaughter, so why do I own it? I don't know, but it's time for her to move on. Too Good to Be True, Too Good to Be Memorable is really more accurate. I don't remember anything about this. Hunting Wives. I enjoyed this, but not enough to keep it. Although I have thought about giving this to my mom. That's not a good enough reason to keep it, is it? Okay, it's gonna go. Leave the World Behind. They just made this into a movie, I'm pretty sure on Netflix, and I'm very excited to read it. I'm very excited to watch it. I read this, I liked it, it was fun, it was crazy at times and then boring at times, but it was fun. It was a fun time, unique, different. I'm interested in the adaptation, but I don't need to hold on to the book. It can go. It can go. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. According to Goodreads, I read it, but I couldn't tell you. Now we have moved on to the books that I have not yet read. So these, pretty much the reasoning behind it is the same for all of them, and that is I don't think I'll ever pick it up. As much as I'd like to think that I'm going to one day pick it up, I have too many unread books and too many books come out every day, every week, every year that there's no reason for me to hold on to books that I haven't read, that I've been holding on to for so long and still haven't read. Clearly, I'm not going to. A Minute to Midnight. This was a book that I borrowed or was given. I was like, thank you, sure, absolutely. And then I took it home and it sat on on my shelf for like 2 years, so now it's gotta go. The Marriage Pact. I wanna say this was an ARC that I got at BookCon. I was so excited to get any ARC that I could when I was there. It was like so thrilling, but then I never read it. So like, what was the point? What was the point? So I feel bad about it, but it's gotta go. Same thing with this. I got this at BookCon as well, and then I never thought about it since. It sounds good though, now that I'm reading the premise. I don't know. Okay, I'm getting ready. I already made the decision. It's going. Need to know. Same thing. Got this at BookCon. Don't know anything about it. And now it has to go. Watch Me Disappear. Got this at BookCon. Don't know anything about it. Now it has to go. I've had these books on my shelf for like 5 years, and not once did I ever add them to a TBR. And now that I'm like getting rid of them, I'm like, wait, I really want to read you. Like, what is wrong with me? The Night Agent. This was adapted for Netflix, and I really want to watch the show. I just never picked it up. So I think I'll watch the show instead. I don't know. I feel really bad saying it, but mass market paperbacks like make me uninterested in reading them. I know that sounds horrible because like they could be just as good as a regular published book, but it just doesn't appeal to me. So same thing with this one. I was given this and I just don't think I'll ever read it. But what if they're really good? Okay. It is so much harder to get rid of books that you've never read. They All Fall Down. This is a young adult thriller that I got at BookCon, and I thought it was such a fun premise. It reminded me a little bit of like Pretty Little Liars vibes, but I never picked it up, and I never will. I never will. Same with the Assassin's Game. I wanted something that had Pretty Little Liars vibes and a game in it, and then I never picked it up. Why? I don't know, but it's clearly it's not a priority, so it's gotta go. Natasha Preston. I did actually read The Cellar this year. In the beginning of the year, was attempting to force my way through my physical TBR because I really thought I had to read every book I owned, and now I'm realizing that if it's not intriguing, I can get rid of it without reading it. So that's what's happening. We're getting rid of them. Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This was one that everyone was talking about on BookTube when I first started watching BookTube, and I never picked it up, and I probably never will. Crier's War. This was an Owl Crate book. I used to have an Owl Crate subscription. I enjoyed it because it was introducing me to books I hadn't heard of when I first got back into reading, so I thought that was a great thing to have. But eventually they started piling up and I wasn't reading any of them, and this was one that I never got to. I think it's gay, which is fun, and I think it's a sci-fi, which is not so much fun for me. But pretty cover. Look at how shiny. First We Were Four. I feel like I heard of this from Kayla from Books and Lala. I remember her really liking it. I think I got it from Book Outlet, and then I just never got around to it. The Sacred Lies of Minnow Bly. It was an intriguing premise, but not intriguing enough to pick up, I guess. The Rattled Bone. Another one I heard about from BookTube. Another one that I picked up from Book Outlet. Another one that I never ever got around to. Wild Beauty. This is a fantasy. Another Owl Crate. Yep, see, still got the letter in there. And it's gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous, gorgeous. But I never read it, and I don't think I ever will. Crown of Feathers. Another Owl Crate. It even has sprayed edges that have very much faded. That's quite sad. I don't think I'll ever read it. I don't think I will. The Book of M. Picked this up on a whim, knowing nothing about it. I need to not do that anymore. But sometimes I get excited about the idea of picking something up that nobody else is talking about, because like in my head I'm like, what if I discover something new? But like, it never happens that way. Enough of that. If I Never Met You, I don't know why I never read it, but I don't think I ever will. There's too many other books coming out that I'm more excited for. The Dirty Book Club. I don't know why I own it. I don't know where I got it. Oh, she wrote the Click series? I feel like I read that when I was a kid. Not a kid, a teen. I don't know. Last King Standing. I remember buying this right when it came out, and then I feel like I heard a lot of people saying it wasn't quite what they were expecting. It was more of a literary fiction than a romance, and that's not really my thing. And I just sort of kept saying, yeah, but one day I'll be in the mood for it, and I never was. And I probably never will be. Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I still don't know that I want to get rid of this. I've never read a Naomi Novik, but I know she is a very well-loved author. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by this, but also it's been sitting on my shelves since 2018. Clearly, it's not going to happen, right? But what if I... Okay, nope. This one, Sufficiently Advanced Magic. This was a book club book for an online book club. I read most of it via audiobook, but I never actually finished it. And I always thought one day I will, but one day never came. This final stack here is all Book of the Month selections that I never got around to. A lot of these were wishful thinking on my part. It was me trying to make myself into the reader I wanted to be, make myself into a smarter reader, make myself into someone that reads outside of their comfort zone. It just never happened. It never happened. I never got around to it. All right, so. Okay, guys, has this been in my hair the whole time? Who gave me a camera and let me have a channel? Seriously, who allowed this? I am so sorry, y'all. The Power by Naomi Alderman. This was a very popular book when it came out, and I remember finding it very intriguing. 2017. This was probably one of my first boxes ever. I never read it. I never read it. And as much as I would like to think that I'm the type of person that could and should and would read this, I'm not. I'm just not. Unfortunately, I'm not. For better and worse. This is a thriller I had never heard of, but I picked it up because it was a selection and never really learned how to skip a month. I never took that route. I always just picked one. If I didn't think anything was interesting, I would just pick the thriller. So that's what happened here in 2018. It's gotta go. Still Lives. I chose this one, and then I saw very negative reviews about it, and a lot of them saying that it was very, very slow and not well paced, and that's like my biggest nightmare with a book is pacing being off. It's gotta go. This one was really intriguing. I think it had to do with like somehow people aren't allowed to tell lies or something, but like, I don't know, it was like futuristic maybe. I'm not really, honestly, I don't remember at this point. I got this one in 2019 and I never got around to it. The Anomaly. This one somebody compared to like an Indiana Jones type book, and I was like, ooh, sounds fun. I've never even seen Indiana Jones. I know, I really should get on that, but why did I think that this was my type of book? Why? I mean, maybe it is, but I never gave it a shot, so it's gotta go. Every Breath by Nicholas Sparks. I loved Nicholas Sparks when I was a teenager. I read every single book by him. So when I saw a Nicholas Sparks offered on Book of the Month, I was so excited, and then I never read it. Oh, look at him. My new show at my theater that starts in February is The Notebook, which is a musical version of Nicholas Sparks's The Notebook. I'm hoping I'll get to meet him. Do you think he'll come to the show? He'll probably come to the show. I don't know. Anyway, I feel bad that I didn't read this. I hope he never sees this. Why would he ever see this? Okay, goodbye. She's losing it. The Fashion Victim. This one, it's never gonna happen. 2018, it's never gonna happen. Ghosted, 2018, it's never gonna happen. Early Riser. I don't even know what genre this is. I wanna say sci-fi, but like the premise is so confusing, and yet I got it. I don't know why, but I chose it. 2019, never gonna happen. She started it. I did start this, and I did not have fun. So I'm sending it away. I'm sending her away. Greenwich Park. I also started and never finished, and I don't feel the need to finish it. Even though I like the cover, okay, it's fine. A John Grisham. I've never read a John Grisham, and I feel like I should one day. I actually kind of want to do a, like, reading like a middle-aged man vlog. That might be fun. Like picking up a bunch of mass market paperbacks, including like John Grisham. Wouldn't that be fun? I don't know. Maybe we'll do that in the new year. Sanatorium, I started. I wanted to love this so bad, and it was so boring, and I just couldn't get into it. And then I held on to it thinking one day never came. And the last book that I am getting rid of, I think, is Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty. This one I never actually got around to, and it's just too damn long. It's just too damn long, and I just said about 9 Perfect Strangers, which I did read, that I just don't think her writing is for me. I've read a few of her books, and I just don't love them, and so I don't know that I'm going to put myself through that for this. So, squat to go. Squat to go! And that's it. That's everything. That's crazy. That's crazy. I think it was a good lesson for me doing this. I think I learned a lot about the type of book hoarder that I am. And I think that I'm going to be more cognizant of that moving forward. I think that I'm going to be a little bit more selective when it comes to the books I'm buying and the books that I'm keeping. I would love it if I could, in the new year, make an attempt to get rid of books as I go instead of having to do this again. But that's also easier said than done, and I think those sound like really pretty words, but will I follow through? Only time will tell. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I didn't hurt anyone's feelings. I hope we all had fun. I would love to know in the comments down below if any of you have ever gotten rid of this many books at once and how you got through it, because it's not easy. It's really not easy. I know some people are really good at it. I am not. I'm not. But it's fine. It's fine. If you are still here, leave an apple emoji in the comments down below, because that is what is right in front of me, and I am not a creative person right now. Thank you so much for watching and being here. I love you all so much. Bookmas is almost over. I think there might be more videos, but honestly, I don't know. I'm behind. I'm so behind. And it's almost Christmas and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm so behind. But I think there's gonna be more videos. So hopefully I will see you in another video very soon. Hopefully. Okay, bye.